is going on, guys? We are back with some more predictions. Let's get it going.
Let's go. We got time no picks here. What's up?
Yep, it's studs.
Indeed. We got old man Chris right here. So we're coming at you right now for UFC Columbus, which is, of course, as you guys know, is Curtis Blaydes and Chris Daukus. So yeah, let's just go right in and just check out these fights. Let's go ahead. You want to take it over, Duz? Let's see what's going on with this first fight.
So we start out with Luis Saldana versus Brian Souza. And what I know about like Luis was like I remember we saw him fight like twice last year. Like once in the spring he fought Griffin. That was a good fight. I think it went like 3 rounds, decision, and went his way. He looked pretty good in that fight. I was kind of looking forward to seeing him again. Then we saw him again, I believe, in the summer. At the end of the summer in August. I forgot which card that was exactly. But
Yeah, if we
he came out and fought Lingo. He had a good fight, but the judges
with
saw
Austin Lingo,
it was yeah. The judges saw it to be a one-way fight. It didn't go his way. Unanimous decision for Lingo.
Had that finish against Vince Murdoch, who was real a real highlight in last season's Contender Series. And yeah, this is gonna be his about what his second fight, third fight in the UFC against Bruno Souza, who is coming off that loss against Melsik Baghdasaryan, who is a really up and coming prospect in his own right. But still, he did have a lot of success in that fight against Melsik. That was the card. He had the Usman Covenant card. Same night we saw Gaethje and Chandler. Everything. Has a split decision winner from Kirk. And yeah, I mean, Bruno Souza at 10-2. Against Luis Saldana at 15-7. I mean, Luis is just gonna be he's gonna be looking for the counter. That's how he's gonna be fighting. Now, a main issue is gonna be if this fight is dragged on longer, maybe his gas tank doesn't really show out because he doesn't have the best cardio. Bruno Souza, on the other hand, is pretty durable and able to drag out farther than most of his opponents. But I mean, if we were just looking at that last fight with Austin Lingo, that was a weird one. But I really like these two wins with Jordan Griffin and Vince Murdoch. Bruno Souza, like we said, this is gonna be his second fight in the UFC. So, granted, his debut was against Melsik. I still don't really see besides the Kamala Kirk fight in LFA, I still don't really see too much experience. And even Kamala Kirk has shown that he's not what a lot of people thought he was in his own right. So, but yeah. What are you thinking, Chris? What about you? Like, what are you seeing these guys? If we go look at their let's just go ahead and look at their their height and reach, whatnot.
Luis.
So Luis is coming in. He's going to be the bigger fighter by a little bit. 5'11". He has leg reach to go with that, and a 3-inch reach. That if he uses that jab and with that reach, those counters might be able to be a little bit more powerful than the usual opponent. I mean, personally, I am with Luis dropping from the favorites, the underdog at plus 100 now. I think I am going to go with Luis Saldana as my prediction. How do you guys think?
I'm going Luis.
I'm rocking with Luis.
All right, so we're all locked in right there with Luis Saldana.
Let's get it going.
Now, let's move on to the next fight. We got David Vorak versus Matuas Nicolau. This is going to be a flyweight fight. So Matuas coming in taller fighter by 1 inch, but Vorak is still going to have that 2-inch reach advantage. If we just let's Let's go check these guys out. Vorak, I believe this is pretty much his debut. Yeah, this is his UFC debut.
He's on
Not his UFC debut. Actually,
fight
I'm
win streak,
not.
man. He's
Yeah,
going crazy right now.
not This isn't his UFC. I'm thinking about something else. But Matulis, he's 3 fights in the UFC. I mean yeah, Vorak 3 fights in the UFC. Fought some decent competition with Bruno Silva and Jordan Espinoza. Not bad. Juan Camilo wasn't really that was a pretty when you see there's levels to this and Juan Camilo pretty much just got starched quick in that first round. These were much closer fights with Bruno and Jordan Espinoza. I know a lot of people, including myself, thought that Jordan Espinoza could have possibly took that fight, but it is what it is. You know, leave it in the judge's hands. Before that, he had one fight in the Octagon SC, which is prominent for Russian fighters. But yeah, that's it. 3 fights in the UFC, 2 fights against decent competition, I would say. When you go and look at Matulis, I mean, just fights on fights of the best, I would say.
Tunisia, he's on a
That was a tough loss to Dustin Ortiz back in 2018, but decisive win over Louis Smolka. Really nice hard fought win over Manel Kopp, who's really lighting stuff up nowadays, and Tim Elliott as well. Two guys who are really showing their worth. Tim Elliott a little bit older, but still lighting a spark in that division. So yeah. What do you guys think?
well, both guys are coming in like with multiple dubs on them. I think it's a good fight. I like Nikolai. I think he's a very good fighter. Um, but I think I'm gonna lock in Dovrak, David Dovrak.
And you, Chris?
Let's back one more time. Let's listen to the reaches.
I got it right. You as well? What are you thinking?
I'll take David on this.
All right, so Chris and Ben going with David Vorak. I'm actually gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go with Matulis Nikolai. First time we're gonna be split. Um, I just think the competition is a little bit better, and yeah, with Matulis, he's gonna have some leg reach in this one as well. But those last 2 fights, pretty much back to back, all within 2021. He's been a little bit more on his part, a little bit more active than David. David had only one fight in 2021 and only 2 fights in 2022. So we'll see how that works out for him. But I'm gonna go with Matulis for that one. So I'm going with Matulis. Duds and Chris both going with your boy David Vorak. So now let's move on. We got Jennifer Maia versus Manel Fiorio. Let's see. I'll take this one first. What do you think?
I think it's gonna go distance.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that someone can get knocked out in this fight. Right, Jennifer Ma, we already know about her. Excellent grappler.
Mm-hmm.
On the feet, she's more than shabby. Um, I think she can hold her own with the best of them, but she's got some competition this week. Fiora is different. I mean, like it's not like she comes through. She has good ground game. She's excellent on the feet. She's she's gone with the best of them. I mean, like she can give it to you whatever way you want. I don't think I've seen a submission out of her yet, but I know I've seen like one or two knockouts. So
Yeah, so if we go ahead and look at Fiora, coming off of that win against Myra Silva, who I'm gonna be brutally honest, I don't think really deserves to be in the UFC. But that's just my take. But had a good knockout win over Tabitha Ritchie, who was a solid fighter, and another one before that, Victoria Leonardo. She's finishing these girls first and second rounds. Um, Liam McCourt lost, split decision loss, believe that in 2018 Cage Warriors. That was, you know, that I don't know why it was a split. I did see that film. It should have just been clean unanimous, but it is what it is. Liam McCourt did have a fight in the UFC. I don't know if she's still with us or not, but yeah. But you look at Jennifer Maia. I mean, coming off fights with really dominant fighters. I mean, Valentina Shevchenko. That was a great fight where she was able to have success in that second round and that third round, and able to actually control Valentina for a bit. Solid win over Jessica Eye. Katlyn Chikagian, who's one of the real sleepers in that division, who I think can really come back and fight for a title soon. Two losses to her, that's alright. Armbar win over Joanne Calderwood, Roxanne Modafferi, Alexis Davis. I mean, the list goes on. Two losses back in one loss to Deanna Bennett back in the day in 2014. We're not gonna go that deep into it, but I don't know if Jennifer Maia can turn this into like a grappling exchange or like wrestling match. Maybe she can rack up that control time. She's been 5 rounds with Valentina. This is gonna be a 3-round fight, so I think that will play a little bit of a of an issue, but Furia has shown that she has some decent takedown defense. I think it would be enough to really halt that approach for Maya. And plus the hands, Fiora's hands are pretty much unlike any girls in the division, and that reach is going to be a big problem as well. Because Manon Fiore coming out, I believe she's 5'7". Yeah, and Jennifer Ma's 5'4". So 2-inch reach advantage at 66. But that's going to be a problem because her hands are lethal. But I am going to go with Manon Fiorio. If Jennifer Maia can get this to the ground and rack up some control time, she could win it. My official prediction will be Manon. You guys think?
I'm rocking with Manon. Manon.
Yeah, this is Manon.
As we move on, Aleksandar Kizriev versus Denis Tiulian. This is both two UFC debuts, two Russians. Aleksandar, 31 years old. Yeah, 5'9", 74-inch reach. And Dennis, 33 years, 6'1", and I believe he has a 75-inch reach, but they're not showing it right here. Yeah, so let's go and check out. First, let's check out Dennis. So Dennis is pretty much a pure counter striker. He loves to counter counter all these guys. So, but this is his UFC debut, coming off the Russian scene, really, and really nothing that crazy stands out. I mean, he's like 12-5, 10-5. He is now. That win over Oliver Donga was actually probably his most impressive up to date. But yeah, we look at, and first of all, he is a finisher or get finished. That's the type of fighter this guy is. I do feel like that's probably going to be a problem against Aleksandar, a guy who's just annihilating dudes in the first round, all just first round annihilations. UFC debut coming off the Russian scene as well, but at least he did have a fight off the contender series where he's finished the dude Enrique in within 1 minute. He's getting 50 second knockouts, 28 seconds, 39 seconds. He's finishing dudes quick. 57 seconds. Believe it or not, I do like the precision for Dennis and his hands on the feet. I believe on the feet, I think Dennis is a little bit more sharper. But Aleksandar, I mean, he's a brawler, man. He's a brawler, and he likes to finish off the ground. If which well, there's no if, but when this gets to the ground, I think Aleksandar is going to be all over him and just really just do what he does, dominate, dominant fashion, ground and pound finish. I think it's going to be a knockout finish. Ground and pound. If not, I do see a rear naked choke coming if Dennis turns his back. But that's going to be my prediction. It's just Elio shot to win.
I mean, men lie, women lie, numbers do not, and the numbers are in Aleksandr's favor. So I'm rocking with Aleksandr to finish.
Indeed. Hey, Chris.
Taking Dennis.
Chris going with a big underdog at plus 750. Dennis Saloon. That's gonna be interesting. We'll see. Next we move on.
All right, this is we'll keep banger of a fight. We got that boy Donna Bacharol.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're leaning out too much. Go ahead. And Chris Gutierrez.
All right. So what I know about. All right, who should we start with?
We can start with. Let's go ahead and check out Chris Gutierrez.
I know he's had his last 2 fights were pretty good.
Felipe
He had some good competition.
Great
Andre Ellis, Andre Yule, that's a good dub for him.
Felipe Colares was a good one. Had a Tahani Barcelos, I think he won that first round, but things happen with Harmony because he's a savage. But look, if you go back in the day, he has a win over Timur Valiev, even though he lost. They had so he's known to really get these he knows to compete against people multiple times. Aaron Phillips, another decent win, even though that was an injury stoppage. But yeah, I mean, Chris Gutierrez experience, you could say former LFA champ. Ray Rodriguez, another good win. Jimmy Flick was a very impressive win as well. Going against Dunn Baccarat,
who is on a tear. I mean, I'm not saying
good win, good finish.
I'm not saying he's Terrence McKinney or anything, but he's still getting these boys out of here in the first round. He's on a tear. Not I'm thinking, after his first few fights, I saw him in the UFC. I was like, okay, this guy is somewhat of a grappler. He's looking for submission sometimes. This guy is a brawler. He's looking to put people to sleep, man. And he's not. I mean, the way he's built, I believe he would have the gas tank to go the full 3, but we haven't seen it, not in a while. I don't think we've seen it ever actually, a full 3 rounds out of Dana. But yeah, he's a machine. If you're looking for a knockout out of this guy, if you're a betting man, I'm going Dana for knockout.
Yeah. So if we look at this, I mean, nice finish over Brandon Davis and a quick finish over Kevin Navidad. Also, a first round finish over Guido Canetti, who really showed out against Chris Coutinho just a couple weeks ago. Decision loss to Haley Alatan, who Haley up until his last fight, I think it was with who was it with? Casey Kenny. Yeah, his last fight with Casey Kenny. Was looking like a solid fighter with that Ryan Benoit win, and so went over Baccarat. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be I think it's gonna be stand-up war for the most part. I think Chris Gutierrez, he wants to keep it on the feet. Both of them really want to keep it on the feet. If we do see any real wrestling approaches, I think we would actually see it surprisingly out of Barbara. He's shown to be really efficient with his own wrestling. But it's gonna be a tough fight. It's definitely gonna be a tough fight for both men. I'm gonna go with the knockdown route.
What are you thinking? I'm predicting. I'm rocking with
I'm gonna
Dana
predict
by
a decision
Grosso.
though. I will think it's gonna be a decision in my opinion. But
I'm going for a finish.
indeed. Well, what do you think, Chris? We're gonna see what who's winning predictions right now. What do you think?
Baka. Dana. Dana?
Yeah.
I'll take him.
What do you like about them?
His fresh physique and his nice hair.
All right. So we'll move on. Fight number 6, Sarah McMann, Grosso. Pretty simple. Grosso striker, Sarah McMann wrestler. Um, so they're pretty much the same. It's pretty much same size. That's not a factor, except Sarah's 41 years old, so she's gonna be much older. Plus 180 underdog. Fought the best of the best as well. I mean, her last fight, 2021, against on that card, UFC 257, Corey McGregor too. Decent back and forth with Juliana Pena until ultimately got finished. Decent win over Lena Landsberg. I think we can count that. But she's fought people like Kevin Vieira. Marion Renault was a little bit more solid back in 2018, so you could count that. Gina Mazzani, good win. Alexis Davis, really good win. These are finishes, by the way. Decision win over Jessica Oz. She's fought Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate. Got finished by Amanda, but it is what it is. Fought Ronda Rousey back in the day. Also got finished back in the day. So she's been around fighting generations of evolution of fighters. But yeah. But take a look at Carol also real quick. Um, so that last fight, Beth Correa, um, Beth was having some success in that fight. Um, but again, that was such a hard fight to really even take anything from it because she had already announced, Beth already announced her retirement. She wasn't really fighting for much anymore. It was really just getting on the show. But she showed heart in that fight, and she was a big underdog in that fight, if I remember correctly as well. Pretty solid, at least like plus 250, I think. But then before that, decision win over Jocelyn Edwards, which is okay, and then decision win over Vanessa Miller. But before that, I mean, it's really spotty her activity. That was against Lara 2019, then 2020, 2020. So it's like really she's fighting once a year at best. Um, where Sarah McMann has been a little bit more active, even though she has some age on her. She has been a little bit more active. She's fought 2019. She's fought back to back pretty much almost from 2021 to 2020. So we can really to assess this. It's like I said, it's going to be a striker against a wrestler. I don't know what are you guys thinking? Yeah.
Taking the striker.
I'm in favor of Grosso as well.
All right. So doesn't Ben? I mean, doesn't Chris going with the favorite? I'm gonna go ahead and take the underdog, Sarah McMann, in this one. I think she'll be able to get Carol to the ground. I don't think Carol has been able to really see, the type of grappling aggression that Sarah would bring. Sarah is a world class female wrestler. Um, so I'm gonna go with Sarah McMann on that one, underdog pick. Let's move on. As we go, fight number 7. Neil Magny versus Max Griffin.
Okay, so let's get into Max Griffin, man. I've always thought he was a great fighter. He has a pretty fast pace. He has a high tempo striking. Since the Cowboy Oliveira fight, he's been on a tear. He's fought like what? He's on a 4-fight win streak, yeah.
Indeed.
even beating legend Carlos Condit in his last fight. He's got good kicks. His striking is great. He has a pretty good takedown defense. I don't see any real holes in him, other than his gas tank sometimes. Um, Other than that, bro, he's a world class fighter to me. I think he's looking good for this against Neil Magny. Um, Want to dive in?
Yeah, so if you look at Max Griffin, I mean, he's been around for the best of the best. His last on a 3-fight win streak right now. Ramiz, really nice win, finished him, finished Son Canon. Really nice growing fight. A tough fight on Carlos Condit's but he really came through and did what he needed to stay alive in that fight. But overall dominant win. For that, split loss to Cowboy Oliveira. Could have really went either way. Decision loss to Alex Morono. Morono really one of these. He might not look the part, but he's really shown to be a problem in that division as well. Went over that Mike Perry win. I'm not even really gonna count that. But back in the day, I had a fight with Colby Covington back in 2016. Did get finished. He's been around the block. Neil Magny has been around the block as well. Not looking at his recent fights, but he has a win over Li Jingliang, which I guess you can say is a good win. A lot of people were hyping up Li Jingliang with his finishing abilities, but he really hasn't fought too many really skilled opponents. I would say, maybe like 3. Well, that Santiago Ponzinibbio one was good. Don't get me wrong, but and if you look at it, Neil Magny lost, got knocked out by Santiago, choked out by RDA. Lorenz Larkin knocked him out as well. Choked out by Damian Maya, so he does get choked out. Tends to get choked out. Not that the grappling is going to be a real factor. If there's any grappling advantage, it's going to be with Max Griffin by far. And I think the hands are going to be pretty much equal. I mean, if we saw in that fight with Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny has shown that he can't defend anything. I mean, he got completely steamrolled and just like Michael Chiesa pretty much mopped the whole canvas with him, mopped the mat with him. That fight with Jeff Neal really showed some. It did show some precision in that fight. Jeff really wasn't able to really find his rhythm. Jeff was able to turn it on a little bit more in that third round, but it is what it is. But grappling is definitely not his forte. What picks are we looking at? What do you think, Chris?
I'm going with that boy. Wait, go back to both of their reaches. I'm going with the other guy. I forgot his name.
I'm gonna go Max Griffin.
Yeah.
Indeed. So yeah, I do like Max Griffin in this fight. I think he will have a little bit of a grappling advantage, but I think they're both gonna try to keep it on the feet. And don't think we're gonna really get a finish, but I do like Max Griffin by decision.
We're all up. Max Griffin.
All of us going with Max Payne Griffin. Yeah. Move on. Mark Diaz versus Slava Borshev. Slava Borshev. Slava Claus. We all know him from Contender Series. With that Chris Duncan knockout, which was he was a pretty moderate underdog in that fight. Went and sparked Chris Duncan out. Crazy. Knocked him out big time. And went on to knock out Dakota Bush. So he's already making noise in the UFC, really. Before that, Titan FC, really rocker. Only loss was in LFA against William Starch. But overall, great. I mean, world class kickboxer in Slava Borshev. He is a kickboxing champion, and he is probably one of the best pure kickboxers in the world at his division, at his weight class. You look at his opponent, and Mark Diaz, he has fought some people too. I mean, he's a little bit young, 1 year younger than Slav as well. Keep that in mind. But in that last fight with Rafael Alves, pretty much got steamrolled in that one. Pretty much that was an embarrassing fight for him. Um, Decent show out against Rafael Fiziev, but Fiziev just he couldn't really stop Fiziev's pressure on that cage punch. So it is what it is. Before that, two decent wins against Lando. Well, a really good win against Lando Fanata, who is also on a little bit of a tear in his own right. And then a win over Joe Duffy, the first guy to ever beat McGregor. So, but before that, losing to Nasrat, losing to Dan Hooker. And first of all, he's getting finished by Dan Hooker in that fight, which is, it's expected, but still, that was a bad fight. He looked really bad in that one. And then split decision, which I thought he did win that fight against Shakar close, so it is what it is. But, yeah, I think overall, it's just, he's a little bit too chinny, not in the sense where he can get sparked unconscious, but he's just a little bit too chinny to get rocked and put in bad positions. I like Slava for this fight. What do you like?
I'm going with Slava.
What do you think? Slava, man? We're all gonna go lock in with Slava. Now we move on. Heavyweight bout. Check it out. Go ahead and start this one off. So, go ahead.
We got Olynyk versus Lara Latifi. That's how you say his name?
Lara Latifi.
Yeah. So Lara Latifi, he's a pretty solid fighter. He's been around the block. He's fought some excellent talent. He's fought like fighters like Jan Blachowicz back in the day. He's fought Ryan Bader. He's fought Derek Lewis. Unfortunately, he's lost to all those, up and coming big names as they were when they were. Other than Derek Lewis, he was already a big name. But when it comes to names, I'm saying like Olynyk, he's been around the block too, and he's made a name for himself. So it's not like he's got to walk in the park this week, mind you. Latifi has some power with him. All I know is the last time I've actually seen him fight, his gas tank was not where it needed to be.
It's a little iffy. It was a clean win over Tanner Bozer, but he was showing some gas tank issues. Before that, yeah, he's just got finished by Volkan Ozdemir. Lost the decision to Derek Lewis, which is weird, but it is what it is. But he does get finished, but he does a lot of first round finishing too. Yeah, Alir's gonna want to brawl and really make it a gritty fight. Maybe get some clinch control, fight off the cage. That's really gonna be his approach. Olynyk, veteran, almost 60 fights. He might be looking for that 60th win. Last fight, coming off that fight against Sergey Spivak, where he was, and Sergey Spivak, even though he did get annihilated by Tom Aspinall, up until that point has been showing a lot of promise in his prospect status. So, and of course, Sergey Spivak also just knocked out Greg Hardy too. Well, just finished him. But before that, they get finished by Chris Daukus in that fight. I remember watching that. That was just a rough one. Got caught with the left. Yeah. Well, it was the knees that led up to that left hook, and that really started buckling him. And then he got finished by Derek Lewis. That's what it is. Before that, he did have a win over Fabricio Verdun, former champion in 2020, and a win over Maurice Green, who was the Ultimate Fighter champion, I believe, as well. But yeah, it's been rough because he's been fighting some real big names and real heavy hitters. But don't forget, he can still get you with that Ezekiel choke. He loves his submissions. He's a submission machine, kind of like Paul Craig in the sense where you can never really count him out. But yeah, this is gonna be a weird fight. Because even if he gets taken down by Lear on some Muay Thai throws shit or whatever, he's still live from the guard. He did show promise in that last fight with Sergey, in my opinion. I think he was really showing a lot of. He threatened a few submissions with him. We're gonna see what happens. What do you What do you think, Slip?
Well, you know what I say about people that do win. That man,
Do a win.
Alexi's doing one, man. I'm not going for Alexi.
He's do a win indeed. So yeah, we'll wait for Chris to get an official prediction for him. But we're both gonna go. So you're going with Alexi, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going with Alexi as well. By submission, but we'll get into that later. Right now, we're just doing the predictions. It is what it is. So let's move on as well. Yeah. So
Well, let's just move on to the next fight for now.
we're gonna move on. We'll go to Askarov versus Kai France. This is a banger.
That is a banger, man. Kai France is my guy, man.
Yeah,
That last fight he had with Cody Garbrandt was electric.
it was.
I'm saying he starched that man out of nowhere.
Yeah. So,
But
that
I'm
let's
not
look.
saying like,
let's-
hey, that's what he does though. He's like he was. Matter of fact, that was the most dominant performance I've seen out of him in like some time. But like it's like he has to get woken up or something.
Yeah, but let's look at Askar too first, because Askar, even though he's gotten ranked high, number 2 within 4 fights in the UFC. First fight in the UFC was a draw against Brandon Moreno, which was Brandon Moreno, former champion as well. Then you look at it, you got wins over Tim Elliott, Aleksandar Pantoja, who also has a win over the former champ as well. And then that was just a boring, pretty much win against Joseph Benavidez. As of late, he's been a decision machine. Even though earlier in his career on the regional scene, he has had some really electrifying finishes, first round, second round finishes. This is Askar versus Kai France. So
What's the reach difference?
we could look at that right now. Reach difference is going to be a 67-inch reach for Askar and a 66.5-inch reach for Kai. So it's pretty much the same thing. Kai going to be a little bit shorter, 5'4" for Kai, 5'6" for Askar. So Askar's gonna have the height and leg reach as well for kicks. But hold on. So what do you like about them?
I mean, that man Kai France is just a dog. Didn't he originally fight Tiger Muay Thai?
He did fight there as well.
Yeah, I just know that boy Kai France to be a dog on it. Whenever I see his name on the cards, I take the chance.
He brings the knockouts.
Yeah, but that's it?
He's looking better. More bulgy.
Well, if we look at Kai France, knockout win over Rogerio Bontorin was impressive. Dominant win, and then of course dominant win over Cody Garbrandt, a former champion at higher weight class at 135. Did get choked out by Brandon Royval after he won the first round, but got caught. Went over Tyson Nam, who's a veteran as well in his own right. Fought the former champ Brandon Moreno in a close fight. He actually dropped Brandon Moreno in that fight. Could have had him out of there, but Brandon was able to, come through. And then former ranked fighter Raulian Paiva, who was just previously ranked top 15, maybe about 6 months ago until they took him out. Solid performance against him. And then I like this win back here against Richie Lang. Richie Lang is shown to be a real problem. Even though he lost Cody Dern, I felt like he could have still went Arichi's way. I feel like Arichi got robbed in that fight with Cody Durden, but it is what it is. Aleksandar Pantoja exhibition. No, Aleksandar Pantoja exhibition. So he's fought. He's been around. He does have a loss against Baccarat Dana back in the day, but decision loss. It was a tough fight as well. But yeah, at plus 310 for the value you're getting at Kaikar France and just the way that Askar's been performing, you have a guy that's an Askar that he want he wants to drag it out. He's been like I said, he's a decision machine as of late. Kaikar France has been a finisher as of late, even though he has been a decision machine in the past. But I feel like Kaikar France is growing, and I feel like he's actually growing into his own. I feel like the pressure might bite on Askar being an undefeated fighter, but you know this really may be the best fighter he will face up to date. I'm gonna go with Kaikar France to win this fight by to win for the prediction right now.
4 fights in the UFC. I mean, he's done his thing. Um, if he were to win this fight, that would really make Askar the real deal. But I'm gonna have to rock with Kai Car French for this one. I just feel like if anything goes in the worst way for Askar, that could be an easy knockout for Kai.
Yeah,
He could do so much damage. He has power, man. I'm rocking with Kai Car French.
yeah. So we're all gonna be locked in with Kaikar France right there. Then we'll move on to Matt Brown versus Brian Barberena, which is gonna be
I'm taking Barber.
this is gonna be good. What are you liking about this?
It's a middle-aged
So,
man versus an old man. I'm
a
taking Barber.
mid-aged man versus the old man. Yeah, I mean, look at Brian Barberena. I mean, he was electrifying up until that fight with Jason Witt, I would say. Even though he was spotty, he had those two losses. But I still they were finished losses against Randy Brown and Vicente Luque, two real savages in the division. But he's also fought the best of the best. Colby Covington back in the day, Leon Edwards, finishing dudes in the first round. Jake Ellenberg finishing him. Joe Proctor finishing him. Even finishing Sage Northcutt, who was up and coming back in the day at a Rising, I believe. Um, and then you got Matt Brown, who is a veteran of the sport, doing his thing. Just finished sparking Diego Lima unconscious. Into the what was that in June last June? Before that, decision loss to Carlos Condit and did get finished by Miguel Baez. Miguel Baez is a real proficient striker and grappler, really sufficient jiu-jitsu artist. Even though he did get started by chaos in a fight he was winning. But and then finished Diego Sanchez. Diego was still gotta respect Diego. Overall, he's been around fighting savages. Put it that way. Matt Brown has been around a while. I saw some new life in him when he fought Diego Lima. Granted, Diego Lima is pretty much on his way out, not really the best, but I saw some new life in him, and I saw less life in Brian Barberena after that Jason Witt fight, and then he went on to beat Darian Weiss in a fight that was pretty boring, if I'm being honest. But I'm gonna go with Matt Brown, the vet. He's showing a lot of good things. Fighting out of Immortal Martial Arts. I mean, yeah, just 1.4 million dollars in bonuses. He's a killer. I'm gonna go with Matt Brown in this fight. You're going with Brian Barberena. Who you taking?
Barbarina took Colby Covington to the distance, man. I don't know. I'm rocking with Barbarina for this one.
Indeed. So you're going with Barberena.
Yes, sir.
All right. So two Barberenas right here. I'm gonna go with Matt Brown. Vet. Now let's move on to the next one. So, here we go. Now we move on to the co-main event. Joanne Wood versus Alexa Grosso. What do you think here, Duds and Chris?
Let me look at it.
Well, all I know is Joanne Wood had quite the. I mean, she had quite the Titan in front of her last time she was out here. It was no easy going. I can't say there's many women that would step in front of that woman and do something different than what she did. But yeah, I don't know. This one's a pick 'em to me. I'm rocking with yeah, I'm gonna have to go rock with Grosso for this.
What do you think, Chris?
This stuff's too spotty. She's out of here.
What about Grosso? What do you think about that?
I'm gonna go with who. I'm going with the favorite.
Yeah, so with this fight, Joanne Wood really shown that she could be a character, could be someone to put your invest your money behind. But I mean, besides that last fight against Jessica High, she was an underdog in that one. I did better in that one on UFC 257. She did come through, but then losing what should have been a unanimous loss to Lauren Murphy and getting completely steamrolled by Talia Santos. Only finish on that fight card, the Misha Tate card. She's fought competition. Don't get me wrong. Jessica Andrade, Cynthia Calvillo, Courtney Casey, Marina Moroz, Rose Namajunas, and Exhibition. So she's fought. Rose has always fought tough competition. She's had the shorter end of the stick on average. Alexa Grasso, what really impressed me about her is that she has two back-to-back wins, decisive wins over Macy Barber and Jiyeon Kim. The Macy Barber win, I don't really put too much stock into that, even though a lot of people, Macy Barber has shown to be a real savage finisher in this division. The Jiyeon Kim win is really good. I mean, Jiyeon Kim is one of the scariest, even though she doesn't strike the fastest. The damage she can produce is pretty scary, so I like that. And then she had um that loss against Carlos Barraza, who is people are saying she's gonna be the next champion. People are saying that she's gonna take the belt from Rose, who also has a win over Rose. Namajunas. And then Carolina Kolochevich, um she was supposed it was a decent win. Carolina, I don't think she's in the UFC anymore. Two canceled bouts against Marina Rodriguez. I think I know how that probably would have went. But yeah, I mean, both of them have experience fighting really good fighters, in my opinion. I think I don't know, Joanne, as we would say, she could be doing. She's coming off the Talia Santos, in my opinion, would do the same thing to Alexa Grasso. But we're not really here to discuss MMA math. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with the dog on this one. I'm gonna go with Joanne Calderwood or Joanne Wood on this one. You guys made your picks?
Yeah, I'm going with Grosso.
Grosso. And then we move on to the main event of the evening. Curtis Blaydes versus Chris Daukus.
What's the public saying?
No, we don't need the public. But
No,
what do
not
you
the
think?
public. I'm just saying like off the heavy favorite because either way I was going with Curtis Blaydes. I just wanted to see what the world was thinking.
What do you guys? What do you think it does?
Well, Curtis Blaydes. Oh, damn.
His last loss was to Derek Lewis, but at the end of the day, he was piecing up Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis got him with a nice rip to the face. It is what it is. That's what happens when you fight as a heavyweight. But overall, he was killing it. He was looking smooth out there.
And he looked good, and he has a good resume. I mean, he's fought almost everyone he's fought basically has been in the top five of the heavyweight division at some point in time, or been close, a little closer, or held the belt. Um, Chris Daukus, on the other hand, he's had some good competition as well, losing his last fight. Um, and I mean, it didn't look too good, but yeah, I'm gonna end up going with Curtis Blaydes for this one.
Yeah. So with Chris Daukus, he was all the hype. Everyone was comparing him and Tom Aspinall to be on this super hype train. Tom Aspinall continued before round in that fight against Shamil Abdurakhimov, he lost that first round. He lost that first round against a guy who really is withering away in this heavyweight division. And but before that, he did have that first round finish back in 2021 against Alexei Olynyk. Nice win over Rodrigo Nascimento. That's another quick finish, and then another first round finish against Parker Porter, and a first round finish against Danny Holmes. Going back into the regional scene. So he is a finisher when he can get it, but the opposition just really isn't there besides Parker Porter, Olynyk, and Shamil. In my opinion, he lost that first round against Shamil anyway, and he got obliterated. He got controlled, outclassed by Derek Lewis, who outclassed. Derek Lewis doesn't outclass anybody, and you just got outclassed by Derek Lewis. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, it's really hard for me not to go with Kyle. Why am I saying that? Curtis Blaydes. It's hard for me not to go with Curtis Blaydes. I mean, the wrestling is just elite. Got finished by Francis Ngannou twice. But that's Francis Ngannou. And then he has that. He did get that loss. And against Derek Lewis, he won that first round against Derek Lewis, but basically got knocked out by his forearm, by Derek Lewis's forearm. So it was a weird uppercut finish, but got sparked conscious. That's what Derek Lewis does. Can't put too much stock into that. It is what it is. But wins over decision win last fight, Jairzinho. Jairzinho's been proven to be, after that Francis Ngannou devastating loss, has been, proven himself to be having heart and really want to fight, like we saw with that fight of Jairzinho and Cyril Gane. So before that as well, nice win over Volkov, knocked out Junior Dos Santos, knocked out Shamil Abdurakhimov in the second round, just like Chris Daukus. Again, MMA math not really going to be a factor in this one. Yeah, but then those two got that finish over Askar Overeem, decision win over Mark Hunt, and a stoppage win over Aleksandar. So these guys have pretty much almost fought pretty much the same guys for the most part. But yeah, just the wrestling, I don't think, as we saw, pretty much, Chris Daukus doesn't possess Derek Lewis or
He doesn't have that.
He doesn't have Derek Lewis or Francis Ngannou power to really put out Curtis's lights. I think this is just going to be just control for Curtis, takedown after takedown, control, submission threats, ground and pound until he gets the finish. If somehow Chris survives 5 rounds with Curtis, which I definitely don't see it likely, it's going to be like 15 minutes of control time for Curtis. I'm going with Curtis Blaydes. We're all going to be going with Curtis Blaydes on this one. Now, it's time for the People's Parlays. The 4-pick parlays. What you looking for? Slip, lines, odds, everything.
Let me go for this.
We do the People's Parlay that are 4-leg parlays. We're going to do another one just this time. Sometimes we'll do the underdog parlay or the full send parlay.
I'll take Byron. Byron to win.
Barbana?
Yep. Byron to win. Curtis Blaydes to win.
Curtis Blaydes to win.
Good end.
Wait. Let's get the odds on those. Let's get the odds. Remember, we agreed it has to be plus 1,000 odds. That's what we promised our fans. We got to get them money.
All right. I'm taking Manon Fuhr, Dana Betcherov,
close to it. Yeah.
Max Griffin, and Kai Kara-France. Oh, shit. Matter of fact, let me redo that. Let me start from the main card, if that makes it easier. We're going with Curtis Blaydes. Mm-hmm. We're going with Kai Kara-France. We're going with Dana Betcherov and Manon Fuhr. That's my 4.
Indeed. All right. And what did you take, Chris?
So I'm going Curtis Blaydes. I'm going Kai Kara-France. I'm going that boy Byron. To top it all off, I'll take that boy Bat.
Saldana.
Check the odds on those. What do they say?
I don't have odds right now.
It sounds like you guys aren't. Well, you're at plus 1,000 odds. But Chris, it sounds like you're at plus 400. What's the deal, man?
It's plus 400.
You said who do you have again?
Curtis Blaydes by knockout decision.
All right, you want Curtis by knockout or decision?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. All right, we got that. Next up, Brian Barbana money line.
Yeah.
Next up, Dunn Baccarat.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up,
What am I at right now?
3. You're at plus 327.
I had one more. I had another one. I'm rocking with.
You want Kai on the people? All right, so that now you're at plus 1,600, plus 1,700 really. So there's that. That's his parlay right there. Now, for my people's parlay, Tanya's picks. Let's get this going. Here we go. We're gonna go with Curtis Blaydes to win and over 1.5. I like those odds. So Curtis Blaydes to win and over 1.5. I think Chris Daukus will at least be able to survive that. Then we're gonna go with I would like to go with Slava in the over 1.5, but he can be unpredictable in that first round. But you know what? I think at least Mark Diakese will be able to. He will be getting weathered in that first and towards the end of the first round. But I think he might be able to survive it. We'll go with Mark Diakese. We'll go with Slava to win and over 1.5. So Slava Borshev to win and over 1.5 on that one. And then I'm liking these over 1.5s, man. Then we're gonna go with Dunn Baccarat to win. And actually, you know what? I don't want to put him in there just yet. But after that, then I'm gonna take I'm gonna go ahead and put for that Matt Brown fight. I'm gonna take the over 1.5 just total for the Matt Brown Brian Barberena fight. I'm gonna take the over 1.5 at minus 160 for that. And then for the Luis Saldana versus Bruno Souza, I'm gonna take the. Well, let me look at this real quick. For that Luis Saldana fight, I'm officially going to go ahead and just take Luis Saldana money line at plus 100. So that parlay is going to be plus 1389. So we have for the 4-legger people's parlay on my behalf, Curtis Blaydes to win and over 1.5. Slava Borshev to win and over 1.5. Matt Brown versus Brian Barberena over 1.5 total rounds. And Luis Saldana money line.
Sounds good.
What are you looking at? What do you got?
But I gave one.
You gave yours? You got yours too?
Yeah.
Alright, so that's what we have. That's at for example. For that parlay I just gave you guys, you want to be high stakes, put 100, win 1,400. Put 10, win 148. Winning good plus 1,000 odds either way. That's how we're really getting it done. So 13 fights this weekend. Pretty decent fights overall. Some really good potential to win some bread. So
Look at when have you been?
so yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We gave you the people's parlays. We're gonna do that for now. If we all just you see us all here. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck on your bets, and make sure you like and subscribe. Share this to your friends who need wager tips and whatnot. All right.